There is a moment that comes to every human being when they realize they have betrayed themselves, not in some grand dramatic way, not with affairs or crimes or public scandals, but quietly, silently, in the small spaces between what they knew was right and what they actually did. Maybe it was the promotion you took that required you to fire people you respected. Maybe it was the silence you kept when someone needed you to speak. Maybe it was the dream you buried because it seemed too risky, too foolish, too late. The moment hits you like cold water. You are standing in your kitchen at 2 a.m., or sitting in traffic, or lying next to someone who loves a version of you that no longer exists. And you think, how did I get here? When did I stop being who I meant to be? This is the geography of regret, and it is hollowing you out from the inside. But there was a man who walked through hell itself and emerged with a map. A man who lost everything except the one thing that mattered most. His name was Viktor Frankl, and he discovered something that can save you from drowning in the wreckage of your compromises. Picture Vienna in the 1930s. Coffee houses thick with cigarette smoke and intellectual debate. A young psychiatrist named Viktor Frankl is developing theories that will reshape how we understand the human mind. He believes that our deepest drive is not pleasure or power, but meaning. He has no idea he is about to test this theory in the cruelest laboratory imaginable. In 1942, the Nazis come for him, for his wife, for his parents, for everyone he loves. They strip him of his clothes, his wedding ring, his manuscript. Everything that made him who he was gets reduced to a number tattooed on his arm. Theresienstadt, Auschwitz, Turkheim. The names that history remembers as monuments to human cruelty become his daily reality for 3 years. Watch him in that place, skeletal, freezing, standing in the mud during those endless roll calls, typhus burning through his body, knowing that weakness means death. And yet something remarkable happens. While others around him surrender to hopelessness, Frankl begins to notice something. You become a hollow shell when you lose meaning. He saw it in the camps, and you see it in your own life. The prisoners who survived were not necessarily the strongest or the smartest or the luckiest. They were the ones who held on to something beyond their suffering, a reason to live, a value they refused to abandon even when abandoning it would be easier. He watches a fellow prisoner give away his last piece of bread to comfort a dying stranger. This man is dying, but he is not defeated. He has found something that the guards cannot touch. You find meaning the same way. When you choose love over self-preservation, when you show kindness even when it costs you, when you serve something bigger than your own survival. When the war ends, Frankl emerges from hell with a truth that will echo through generations. Even in your worst suffering, you still have the power to choose who you become. His wife is dead, his parents are dead, his manuscript is ashes. But the insight he gained in those camps becomes the foundation for a new kind of psychology. One that says, your worst moments do not define you unless you let them. Here is what regret actually looks like in your life. It accumulates like dust in the corners of your conscience. It is saying yes when you mean no because you do not want to disappoint people who will forget your sacrifice by Tuesday. It is laughing at jokes that make you feel sick inside because fitting in seems more important than standing up. It is choosing the safe path over and over until you look around and realize you are nowhere near where you wanted to be. Sarah is 34. She wanted to be a teacher, but her parents convinced her to study accounting. Steady work, they said, good benefits. Now she sits in a grey cubicle, calculating depreciation schedules while her soul slowly flatlines. Every morning she looks in the mirror and sees a stranger wearing her face. The regret hits her hardest on Sunday nights, that sinking feeling as Monday approaches. Another week of pretending to care about profit margins when all she really wants is to help kids learn to read. She tells herself she will make the change next year. She has been saying next year for 8 years. Every Sunday night she feels herself shrinking a little smaller. But here is what Sarah does not see yet. Every day she chooses that cubicle, she is also choosing to stay alive to the possibility of change. The fact that it hurts means something in her refuses to give up. That pain is not her enemy. It is her compass pointing toward what matters most. Marcus is 28. He grew up in a family where men do not cry, do not show weakness, do not talk about feelings. So when his best friend started struggling with depression, Marcus did what he was taught to do. He kept his distance. He made jokes. He told his friend to man up and get over it. 3 months later, his friend was dead. Marcus carries that weight everywhere now. The sound of the phone ringing at 3 a.m., his friend's mother crying on the other end, the funeral where Marcus could not even look at the casket because he knew he had failed in the most fundamental way possible. He will replay that silence for the rest of his life, knowing his friend died never hearing the words he needed most. Here is what no one tells you about regret. It is not really about what you did, it is about who you were not brave enough to be. Every compromise is a small death. Every time you choose comfort over love, you betray the part of yourself that knows how to care deeply. Every time you choose safety over service, you abandon the part of yourself that wants to matter. Every time you choose convenience over calling, you silence the part of yourself that has something unique to give. This is why regret feels so devastating. It is not just about missing opportunities. It is about the slow erosion of everything that makes you who you are meant to be. It is about looking in the mirror and realizing you have become someone you would not want to know. The cracks spread. They always do. If this is hitting you right now, subscribe to the channel so you do not miss what comes next, because what Frankl discovered in those camps can pull you out of this spiral before it destroys you. Frankl came back from hell with 3 insights that can revolutionize how you think about your life. First insight: life does not owe you happiness, but it does owe you the chance to find meaning. You chase pleasure and run from pain. You think the good life means maximizing comfort and minimizing difficulty. But Frankl realized this is backwards. Pleasure comes and goes. Comfort can be taken away in an instant, but meaning can survive anything. In the camps, he watched prisoners who focused only on survival become hollow shells. They ate, they slept, they followed orders, but their humanity drained away. The prisoners who stayed human were the ones who found something worth suffering for. Picture someone who saves their last bit of medicine for another person, even though they are sick themselves. Imagine a parent who holds on to hope of reuniting with their children. Think of someone who secretly shares stories to keep culture alive in a place designed to destroy it. These people suffer just as much as everyone else, maybe more, because caring makes them vulnerable, but their suffering has direction. It points towards something beyond themselves. You do this too, when you endure difficulty for your children, when you sacrifice for a cause you believe in, when you choose love over ease, when you pursue your calling even when no one understands, when you serve others even when it drains you. Second insight: between stimulus and response lies your freedom. The Nazis could control every aspect of Frankl's external life. They could starve him, beat him, work him to exhaustion, but they could not control the story he told himself about what was happening. You face the same choice every day. You can choose to see yourself as a victim or as a person being tested. You can focus on what you have lost or on what you still have to give. You can despair about the cruelty around you or commit to being a source of kindness in that darkness. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, the ability to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way, man's search for meaning. This is not positive thinking. This is not pretending everything is fine when it is not. This is recognizing that even in your worst circumstances, you still have the power to choose who you become in response to them. It is the ultimate freedom, the one thing no person, no system, no circumstance can take from you. Third insight: you are responsible for finding your own meaning. Nobody else can tell you what your life is supposed to be about. Not your parents, not your culture, not your religion, not your fears. The meaning of your existence is something you must discover and create for yourself. But here is the key. Meaning is not something you think about. It is something you live. You do not find your purpose by sitting in meditation or reading self-help books. You find it by paying attention to what breaks your heart and what fires you up, then having the courage to organize your life around those things. Frankl believed every person has a unique contribution to make, something only you can give to the world. Your job is not to figure out what that is intellectually. Your job is to live so authentically that it reveals itself through your choices. This is why regret hurts so much. It is not just about missed opportunities. It is about betraying your unique mission in the world. It is about letting your authentic self die a slow death while your safe self takes over. It is about choosing security over significance, comfort over calling, self-preservation over service. Let's bring this into your actual life. Because understanding Frankl's ideas is worthless if you do not know how to use them. Picture the conference room. Fluorescent lights humming overhead like mechanical insects. You are sitting in a meeting at work, and your boss is proposing a strategy that you know will hurt customers. You have data that shows it. You have expertise they are ignoring. But speaking up means conflict. It means being seen as difficult. It means risking your comfortable position. Most people stay silent. Maybe you do too. You tell yourself you are being practical. But deep down, you know you are choosing safety over truth. But Frankl would ask you, what is more important, your comfort or your integrity? What kind of person do you want to be in this moment? And what will you think of yourself if you choose cowardice because it is convenient? You speak up. Your voice shakes a little, but you speak, not because you are guaranteed to win, but because staying silent would betray who you are called to be. The same choice appears in different clothes everywhere you look. Your marriage has grown cold. Your partner retreats into work, and you retreat into distraction. The easier path is to let it die quietly, to build separate lives, to numb yourself with scrolling and shopping until the pain becomes bearable. But if you keep hiding, you will not just lose your partner, you will lose yourself. But you find meaning when you choose love over comfort, when you have the difficult conversations, when you fight for connection even when it would be easier to give up, when you suffer for someone else's growth instead of protecting yourself from disappointment. Your teenage daughter comes home exhausted from school. She tells you about a new girl who sits alone at lunch every day. The other kids whisper about her clothes, her accent, her awkwardness. Your daughter sees the loneliness, but says nothing because speaking up would make her a target too. When you look away from suffering, you are teaching yourself to be the kind of person who accepts cruelty. You could lecture her about kindness. You could give her a speech about standing up for others. But Frankl would suggest something different. Ask her, what breaks your heart about this situation? What would happen if you chose compassion over safety? What kind of person do you become when you see suffering and look away? Do not look away. Help her see that you find meaning when you choose kindness even when it costs you something, when you sit with the lonely person, when you defend someone who cannot defend themselves, when you let your heart break open instead of building walls around it. Even your career becomes a battlefield for your soul. You have a gift. Maybe it is writing, teaching, creating, healing, something that lights you up and makes time disappear. But it does not pay well. It is not stable. It is not what practical people do. So you take the safe job, the one with benefits and a retirement plan. You tell yourself you will pursue your calling on weekends, in your spare time, when you retire. But weekends fill with errands and exhaustion. Spare time vanishes into obligations. Retirement feels like a promise you make to avoid living today. You find meaning when you choose purpose over security, when you organize your life around what matters most to you, when you are willing to be misunderstood, to struggle financially, to disappoint people who want you to be safe more than they want you to be alive. Each scroll is a test. Your phone buzzes with news of someone struggling, a friend going through divorce, a neighbor facing illness, a cause that needs volunteers. You could help. You could show up. You could sacrifice your evening or your weekend or your comfort. But helping is messy. It means getting involved in other people's problems. It means being needed in ways that are inconvenient. It means choosing service over self-protection. You find meaning when you choose sacrifice over comfort, when you show up for people even when they cannot return the favor, when you give your time, your energy, your resources to something bigger than your own happiness. Each time you choose safety over meaning, convenience over calling, you teach yourself that your deepest values are negotiable. You build a habit of betrayal that will show up in bigger moments when you need your authenticity most. Here is how you start living without regret, starting today. Think of it as emergency surgery on a soul that has been bleeding out slowly. Step 1. Identify your non-negotiable values. Not the ones that sound good on paper, but the ones you would defend even if it cost you something. Write them down like you are carving them into stone. Make them specific. Maybe yours is love. I will fight for my relationships even when it would be easier to walk away. I will have the hard conversations instead of letting resentment build. Maybe it is service. I will show up for people who need help even when it is inconvenient. I will use my gifts to make others' lives better. Maybe it is truth. I will not participate in conversations that dehumanize people. I will not pretend to agree with things I believe are wrong. Maybe it is creativity. I will not abandon my calling for the illusion of security. I will organize my life around what brings me alive. Maybe it is courage. I will speak up when I see injustice, even if my voice shakes. I will take risks that align with my purpose. Maybe it is compassion. I will be kind to people who are struggling, even when they cannot help me in return. I will choose empathy over judgment. Your values might be different. They should be different. They should sound like you, not like a motivational poster, but they should be specific enough that you will know when you are betraying them. These become your foundation stones, the unshakable ground that defines who you are when nobody is watching. Step 2. Notice your small betrayals before they become big ones. These compromises are like hairline cracks in a dam. Invisible at first, harmless looking, but they spread. Pay attention to the moments when you feel that tiny stab of guilt, when you laugh at the joke that makes you uncomfortable, when you nod along with the opinion that violates your conscience, when you choose the easy path over the right path. These moments are not accidents, they are tests, and every time you fail a small test, you make it easier to fail a bigger one. Step 3. Practice courage in low-stakes situations so you will have it when the stakes are high. Your courage is a muscle that grows stronger with use. Disagree with someone about a movie recommendation. Send back food that is wrong at a restaurant. Offer help to someone even when it is inconvenient for you. Finish one small creative piece you've been avoiding, even if no one will see it. Every small act of honesty is a brick in the foundation of who you are becoming. Every small act of kindness builds your capacity for love. Every small gesture of service strengthens your ability to put others first when it really matters. Build the muscle of living your values when it does not matter much, so you can use it when it matters everything. Step 4. When you face a choice between comfort and your highest values, ask yourself Frankl's question. What kind of person do I want to be in this situation? Not what will make me look good, not what will avoid conflict. What would the best version of myself do right now? Are you called to speak truth, to show love, to serve others, to pursue your purpose, to demonstrate kindness? Then do that thing, even if your hands shake. Especially if your hands shake. This is the crossroads where your character is carved in stone. Step 5. Remember that meaning is not a feeling. It is a choice you make over and over again, like laying bricks to build something that will outlast you. You will not always feel inspired. You will not always feel brave. But you can always choose to act in alignment with your values, even when you do not feel like it, particularly when you do not feel like it. There is a moment coming in your life when everything will depend on who you have been becoming in the small moments. It might be a phone call in the middle of the night when someone needs you to show up in a way you never have before. It might be a choice between what is profitable and what is right. It might be a conversation that could save someone's life if you have the courage to have it. You will not get to prepare for that moment. You will not get to practice. You will have to draw on the person you have been building through 1,000 small choices when nobody was watching. When that call comes, you will not rise to the level of your dreams. You will fall to the level of your choices. The person who speaks up in meetings. The person who keeps promises even when it is inconvenient. The person who treats others with dignity even when they are powerless to help you. The person who chooses truth over comfort, courage over safety, meaning over ease. That person is not born. That person is built. One choice at a time, one small act of alignment at a time, one moment of refusing to betray your own soul at a time. Viktor Frankl walked through hell and came back with a message. You are more powerful than your circumstances. Your meaning is not determined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond to what happens to you. Right now, in this moment, you have the same freedom he discovered in those camps. The freedom to choose who you become next. The freedom to stop betraying yourself and start becoming someone you can respect. The only question is, what are you going to do with that freedom? Your future self is counting on the choice you make right now. Make them proud. Picture yourself 5 years from now, looking back on this moment. Will you remember this as the day you decided to stop living a compromise? The day you chose courage over comfort? The day you started building a life you could be proud of? Or will this be just another video you watched while your real life happened somewhere else? The choice is in your hands. It has always been in your hands. Drop a comment below. What is the one value you refuse to betray again after watching this? What is the line in the sand you are drawing today? Name it, and name one action you will take in the next 24 hours. Your courage might be exactly what someone else needs to see to find their own. The line you draw today is the wall your regret cannot cross.